Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Count Jinsula, and welcome to another Pokemon GO raid guide. Today we are going to be covering the Psychic and Fairy type legendary Pokemon Tapu Lele. This is the second Alolan Legendary coming to Pokemon GO, and it is certainly one you will not want to ignore. I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know for easily defeating this raid boss in this video, so let's roll the intro and jump right into it. Alright, real quick, if you end up enjoying this video and find it to be helpful, then be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this one. I also want to thank my patrons on Patreon. You have made my channel content so much better as of late. If you want to support my content in any way, then please consider checking out the links in the description below. Okay, so with that said, let's get right into it. Tapu Lele is a very powerful Psychic and Fairy type legendary Pokemon that you should not underestimate. It is weak against Ghost types, Poison types, and Steel types, and it is going to be resistant to Fighting types, Dragon types, and Psychic types. In terms of stats, it is much stronger than its counterpart Tapu Koko, but it unfortunately lacks a good moveset that would allow it to be useful in any game mode. Regardless, defeating this raid boss is pretty easy if you bring the right counters, and there is potential that this Pokemon will be strong in the future. So let's get into those counters. First and foremost, there are some pretty obvious type advantages that you can see right away. Since Tapu Lele is a Fairy type, it will have a strong weakness to both Poison types and Steel types. This means your absolute best two counters will be Mega Gengar and Metagross. When it comes to Metagross, you will obviously want to have the moves Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash, as these are the highest damage dealing Steel type moves on any Steel Pokemon. Something to consider is that if you happen to have a bunch of friends raiding with you that are using Metagross, then you could bring Mega Steelix to boost up the entire raid party. Now speaking of Megas, let's talk about Mega Gengar. When it comes to this Pokemon, you really can't go wrong with either Ghost type or Poison type moves, but I highly suggest you go with Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. The reason for this is because Tapu Lele is also weak against Ghost type attacks, as it is the one Psychic type weakness that isn't nullified by its Fairy type. This actually brings me to a very important point. Something you should definitely be aware of is that some of the common Pokemon that you would typically bring against Psychic types are nullified by Tapu Lele's Fairy typing, more specifically Dark types. This does not apply to Ghost types, however, thus you could bring your best Ghost type Pokemon to this raid battle and you should be okay. Speaking of which, Chandelure is one Pokemon that would perform really well against Tapu Lele. This is of course because Chandelure deals an insane amount of Ghost type damage per second, which, paired up with Mega Gengar, will allow you to burn down this boss really quickly. You could also bring a Mewtwo that has Shadow Ball as well, which is a great Pokemon for this raid boss, as it will resist plenty of those Psychic attacks that Tapu Lele could have. Of course, when you think of Ghost types, you typically will want to consider Giratina as a raid damage Pokemon, but because the Dragon type is weak against Fairy type attacks, I highly suggest against bringing it to this raid battle. You're better off using Mega Gengar, Chandelure, and Mewtwo. Now Ghost types and Steel types are not the only types that are strong against Tapu Lele. A solid third option is going to be your Poison type Pokemon. Some of the obvious best choices are going to be Mega Beedrill and Mega Venusaur, and if you aren't able to bring Mega Gengar or Mega Steelix, then you absolutely should consider any of these Pokemon. Regular Gengars might also be useful with Poison type attacks, but only if you have a Cloudy Weather boost that would give you a damage bonus. There are plenty of Poison types that could easily be viable against Tapu Lele, but if you want the best results, I suggest going straight up with mostly Steel and Ghost types. Most of Tapu Lele's attacks are Psychic type, which can be devastating against Poison types, so do keep that in mind. However, Cloudy Weather boosts with a bunch of Poison types could allow you to damage Tapu Lele even if it has Psychic type attacks. Speaking of which, there aren't going to be too many weather boosts that will benefit your damage, as the ones that boost Steel types and Ghost types are not too common. But if you're looking for a beneficial weather boost, then the ones you will want to look out for are Snowy and Foggy weather. However, if you're looking for a boosted Tapu Lele, then you will want to raid when it is cloudy or windy, as these will boost this Pokemon. Okay, so let's finish off this guide by talking about IVs. Getting the perfect IV of Tapu Lele will require you to catch this Pokemon with a combat point value of 1996 and a value of 2496 if it is weather boosted. Like I mentioned earlier, it is going to be weather boosted by either cloudy or windy weather, which are typically really common this time of year. Finally, defeating this boss will require a few more trainers than your average raid boss. Thus, I suggest you go with at least 6 total trainers that have Pokemon that are at least level 35. If you want to challenge yourself with the least number of trainers possible, then I would say it is doable with only 3 total trainers with Pokemon at least level 35. However, you will want to have every boost and bonus that you can bring, such as weather boosts, friendship bonuses, etc. Overall, I have pretty mixed feelings when it comes to Tapu Lele, especially around its move pool. It could have either Astonish or Confusion as its fast moves, and Future Sight, Psyshock, Moonblast, and Focus Blast as its charge move. I think if this Pokemon were to get Charm in the future, that would actually make it viable as a Fairy-type raid attacker or as part of the Master or Ultra League. It has a ton of potential as a top tier Pokemon because of its stats. Unfortunately, it just misses a lot of that potential because of its lackluster moveset. Hopefully Niantic will give this Pokemon a second look in the future, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this raid guide. Again, Tapu Lele is weak against Ghost, Steel, and Poison types, so these are the kind of Pokemon you should bring. If you do, you should have no trouble at all taking down this raid boss. I will say the fortunate thing is that so many Pokemon of these typings are available, so even if you don't have any of the counters that I specifically mentioned, you could still be a useful raid member so long as you have a full team of Steel, Poison, or Ghost types. So let me know your thoughts regarding this raid boss. Do you have a really good Tapu Lele? Do you agree or disagree that it misses its potential because of its moves? And do you think this Pokemon will be top tier in the future? Let me know down below and let's have a great discussion. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support this channel in any way, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. But yeah, that's going to be it. I am Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I will catch you all later.